The richest person you will ever meet probably won't be posting about it. No photo of the new watch, no picture standing beside a Lamborghini, no motivational quote about grinding while you sleep. Nothing. Meanwhile, someone making 1/10 as much is refreshing Instagram every 10 minutes, trying to convince strangers that life has finally become perfect. Here's the strange part. The less someone needs your attention, the less likely they are to ask for it. By the end of this story, you'll understand why many wealthy people don't quit social media. They simply stop needing it. Open any social media app. Within seconds, you'll see luxury vacations, private jets, designer clothes, perfect relationships, perfect bodies, perfect ease. Your brain quietly reaches one conclusion: everyone is winning, except me. But social media was never designed to show reality. It was designed to show performance. And performance is a terrible place to measure your own life. Most people think social media steals time. That's true. But time isn't the biggest thing it steals. It steals attention, then confidence, then focus, and finally, it steals your ability to enjoy an ordinary day without comparing it to someone else's highlight reel. That's a cost no notification ever tells you about. Across town, someone else's morning begins very differently. He wakes up, makes coffee, reads for 30 minutes, checks the stock market, answers 2 emails, then disappears into work. His phone hasn't made a sound all morning, not because nobody texted him, because almost every notification is turned off. His attention belongs to him, not to an algorithm. Think about this. Some of the smartest engineers on Earth wake up every morning with one job: keep you looking at your screen for just a little longer, not because they hate you, because your attention is worth billions of dollars. If you're using the product for free, there's a good chance you are the product. A millionaire and an influencer walk into the same coffee shop. One orders coffee, opens a notebook, and spends an hour planning the next investment. The other spends 20 minutes taking pictures of the coffee before drinking it. Only one of them leaves richer than when they arrived. The strange part: it probably isn't the one with 1 million followers. Most addictions feel obvious. This one feels productive. You tell yourself you're networking, learning, keeping up with the news, finding inspiration. Then suddenly, 2 hours disappear. You don't remember what you watched, but your brain feels strangely exhausted. Try sitting in complete silence for 10 minutes. No phone, no music, no podcast, nothing. For many people, that feels harder than working, not because silence is painful, because we've forgotten what our own thoughts sound like. One Sunday, you decide to delete every social media app for just 24 hours. Not forever, just one day. You expect boredom. Instead, something unexpected begins to happen. The first hour feels uncomfortable. The second feels quiet. By evening, you notice something you haven't felt in years. Your mind isn't racing anymore. Nothing outside has changed. The world is exactly the same. But inside, everything feels different. And that's where this story really begins. The first day without social media doesn't make you richer. It doesn't change your salary. It doesn't increase your investments. But it gives you something almost everyone is losing without realizing it: your attention. Attention is the first asset every successful person learns to protect, because every business, every investment, every book, every invention began as uninterrupted attention focused on one thing long enough to matter. The people who own their attention eventually own their future. Social media doesn't ask for your entire day. It asks for 30 seconds, then another 30, then one more. Each decision feels harmless, but by the end of the week, hours have disappeared. By the end of the year, weeks have disappeared. And somewhere inside those missing hours, the person you could have become quietly disappeared too. Most people think wealthy people spend money to buy luxury. Many do, but the truly wealthy often spend money to buy something else. Time. They hire help, automate repetitive work, delegate tasks. Not because they're lazy, because they understand something priceless. Every hour saved can be invested into something that creates 10 more. Time compounds just like money does. Every notification feels tiny. A message, a like, a comment. Your brain rewards each one with a small burst of dopamine. The problem isn't the dopamine. The problem is teaching your brain to expect rewards every few minutes. Real success doesn't work that way. Building wealth, building businesses, building meaningful relationships often requires months of effort before the reward arrives. Social media trains you for instant gratification. Real-life rewards delayed gratification. Imagine starting every morning by letting millions of strangers decide what you'll think about first. Politics, celebrity drama, arguments, breaking news. That's how most people begin their day. Now imagine beginning with silence, a notebook, a walk, or reading 10 pages of a great book. One morning fills your mind with noise, the other fills it with direction. Your mornings become your future in slow motion. Here's something strange. The more successful many people become, the less they feel the need to prove it. Early success seeks applause. Mature success seeks peace. When your confidence comes from your bank account, you show people your bank account. When your confidence comes from your character, you don't need to show anything at all. For the first time in years, you become bored. Really bored, and something unexpected happens. Ideas begin appearing. Business ideas, creative ideas, solutions to problems you've been carrying for months. Your mind finally has enough empty space to hear itself think. Boredom wasn't your enemy. It was the doorway to creativity. Every time you compare yourself to someone richer, someone more attractive, someone more successful, the platform wins. Comparison keeps you scrolling. Scrolling keeps you watching. Watching keeps advertisers paying. The product isn't the app. The product is your attention. 7 days pass. You haven't become a millionaire. You haven't discovered the meaning of life. But you've read 2 books, finished projects you've delayed for months, called your parents, cooked dinner without checking your phone, gone to bed earlier. Your life didn't become extraordinary. It simply became yours again. Then a thought appears. What if the goal isn't deleting social media forever? What if the goal is making sure it never controls you again? Because wealth isn't just having money. It's having the freedom to decide where your attention goes. And once you understand that, you're no longer fighting an app. You're protecting your life. The experiment was never about social media. It was always about ownership. Ownership of your time, your focus, your future. People often ask why some individuals seem to move ahead year after year while everyone else stays busy but stuck. The answer usually isn't talent. It isn't luck. And it definitely isn't working 20 hours a day. It's what happens during the hours nobody else sees. While one person spends 3 hours consuming other people's lives, another quietly spends those same 3 hours building their own. One life is entertained. The other is transformed. The difference doesn't show up tomorrow. It shows up 5 years later. There is a kind of work that feels almost invisible. No notifications, no applause, no audience, just one person, one problem, and complete concentration. Scientists call it deep work. Entrepreneurs call it their competitive advantage. Because while the world is distracted, the focused person quietly becomes impossible to compete with. Social media gives you information. Books give you frameworks. One tells you what happened today. The other teaches you how the world has worked for decades. The wealthy often read because they're not searching for entertainment. They're searching for leverage. One useful idea applied consistently can be worth more than thousands of hours of endless scrolling. Imagine improving just 1% every day. One page, one workout, one business lesson, one investment. It feels insignificant until you repeat it for years. Success rarely arrives in dramatic moments. It arrives disguised as ordinary days, repeated with extraordinary consistency. That's why focused people often look average, right before they become exceptional. Something unexpected happens after several weeks. You stop reaching for your phone every few minutes. Silence no longer feels uncomfortable. It begins to feel expensive because every uninterrupted hour allows you to think more clearly than you have in years. Confidence grows quietly, not because strangers approved of you, because your promises to yourself finally became stronger than your habits. The hardest part of meaningful work is that nobody applauds while you're doing it. Nobody celebrates chapter 3 of the book you're writing. Nobody notices the investment account growing $1 today. Nobody congratulates you for deleting distractions. Progress is often invisible until suddenly it isn't. One morning, your phone finally vibrates, not because someone liked your photo, not because your video went viral. A simple notification appears: investment deposit. Successful. You smile, lock the phone, and continue your day. Real wealth doesn't need applause. It only needs consistency. You begin protecting your attention the same way wealthy people protect their investments. Carefully, deliberately. You stop following accounts that make you feel inadequate. You unfollow constant negativity. You choose books over arguments, conversations over comments, reality over performance. Your mind becomes quieter, and somehow, your life becomes bigger. Months later, people begin asking what changed. You seem calmer, more focused, less reactive. You don't tell them you found some secret productivity hack. You simply stopped renting out your attention to everyone else. And for the first time in years, your mind finally belonged to you again. So here's the real question. If social media disappeared tomorrow, what would you build instead? A business? A healthier body? A stronger marriage? A better investment portfolio? A peaceful mind? Maybe. The life you've been looking for has been waiting patiently on the other side of your screen all along. One day, you realize something unsettling. Social media was never your biggest distraction. It was your biggest habit. Every spare moment had been automatically filled with scrolling, waiting in line, sitting in traffic, standing in an elevator, even walking through a beautiful park. There was never any empty space left for your own thoughts. And without realizing it, you had become a consumer of everyone else's life instead of the creator of your own. Imagine someone gave you 168 hours every week. Would you spend 20 of them watching strangers live their lives? Probably not. That's why many successful people don't obsess over protecting their money. They obsess over protecting their calendar, because money can return. Time never does. The richest people understand that every hour has an investment return. Scrolling feels productive. You learn random facts, watch business clips, save motivational quotes, collect endless advice. But collecting ideas isn't the same as applying them. Knowledge without action slowly becomes entertainment, and entertainment disguised as productivity is one of the easiest traps to fall into. Weeks become months. Something changes. Your evenings become quieter. You cook dinner without checking your phone. You finish books instead of short videos. You take evening walks without headphones. At first, it feels strange. Then it feels peaceful. Finally, it feels normal. And that's when you know your attention has finally come home. Every focused hour builds another. Every finished book makes the next one easier. Every uninterrupted morning strengthens your discipline. Focus compounds exactly like money. Tiny improvements repeated consistently become extraordinary outcomes. Most people only notice the outcome. They never notice the thousands of quiet hours that created it. The strange thing about success is that it becomes quieter over time. Early success wants everyone to notice. Real success no longer needs witnesses. The person you've become matters far more than the image you've created. And that realization changes everything. Saturday arrives. Most people spend the afternoon consuming content. You spend yours planting vegetables with your family, fixing something around the house, laughing without recording it. Nobody online knows what you're doing, which somehow makes the memory even more valuable. Some moments become richer because they were never posted. Months ago, you looked at social media to see who you should become. Now, you look in the mirror instead. The comparison is over. The competition is over. The only person left to improve is yesterday's version of yourself. Nobody congratulates you for reclaiming your attention. There are no trophies, no certificates, no viral moments. Just a quieter mind, a healthier routine, a stronger future. Freedom rarely announces itself. It simply feels like peace. By now, you understand something most people never will. The opposite of distraction isn't productivity. It's presence. Being fully where you already are. Because life isn't happening inside your phone. It's happening all around you, and once you see that, you can never unsee it. Years pass. Your investment portfolio grows, your career grows, your confidence grows, but none of those become your greatest investment. Your greatest investment was learning to protect your attention, because every dollar you earned was first created by an hour of focused work, and every focused hour existed because you stopped giving it away for free. The happiest moments rarely become viral. Nobody records the peace of waking up without anxiety. Nobody posts a picture of paying every bill without stress. Nobody uploads the feeling of reading beside the fireplace while rain falls outside. Yet these are the moments people spend their entire lives trying to buy. Real wealth often looks ordinary. That's why so few people recognize it. Imagine two people. One has 5 million followers, but can't eat dinner without checking notifications. The other has 5 close friends, financial freedom, and complete control over where their attention goes. Which one is actually richer? Followers can admire your life. Only peace lets you enjoy it. People think luxury is private jets. Luxury is sleeping 8 hours. Luxury is walking without checking your phone. Luxury is choosing your work instead of chasing your bills. Luxury is having enough time to watch the sunset without feeling guilty. Those are the things money is supposed to buy. Not attention from strangers, freedom for yourself. Social media isn't evil. It can teach, connect, inspire. The danger begins when it quietly replaces your real life. Use it as a tool, never as a home. The wealthiest people don't avoid technology. They simply refuse to let technology decide how they spend their lives. That decision changes everything. Tonight, before you open another app, ask yourself one question. Is this bringing me closer to the life I want? Or simply distracting me from building it? That single question might save years of your future. The richest people aren't always the loudest. Sometimes they're the quiet couple walking through the neighborhood after dinner. The father reading to his children. The woman building her business without announcing every milestone. People who no longer need the internet to confirm they're successful, because their lives already do. Maybe that's why many wealthy people seem invisible online, not because they're hiding, because they're busy living. While millions compete for attention, they're protecting the one thing attention can never buy back: time And once you understand that, you stop chasing every notification. You start protecting every hour. The world will always ask for your attention. Every app, every headline, every notification, every advertisement. Your future quietly asks for the same thing. The difference is, only one of them will give something back. Choose carefully. You make that decision every single day. If this story changed the way you think about social media, don't just remember it, use it. Protect your attention like your future depends on it, because it does. And if you enjoy cinematic stories about money, psychology, discipline, and building a meaningful life, subscribe, because the next story might change the way you see success forever.